morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kura Isagami, your resident Tinkerer and Medarotter, and I do hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and holiday as you come back here once again every week for the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Now this week, as we wrap up the end of 2022 and the start of 2023, this previous week we did get a little bit of a teaser already as to what to expect. But this week in particular, we did get kind of a rehash of what is coming, as well as more details on what is coming this week, including the introduction of another model of Horomo Rin's 7 Lucky Gods series, as you see here. But not just that, there are a lot of one-day special pickup banners, a lot of nice events, and a very lucrative event at the end, which was also teased last week. So let's go ahead and jump right into what was announced, and go ahead and get started with the year-end festivities. Starting the lineup here with the highlighted gacha banners, the first of which, and the new model making their introduction, is SFJ03 Ibisu Shichifuku, with a kit of Fight, Full Charge, Beam Sword, Armor Drain, Sea Legs, and the leg ability of Through Fight. And Armor Drain is a brand new skill being introduced to the game, and it's basically exactly what you'd expect. Upon attacking a target, you will sap a small amount of HP from the target, at the cost of consuming 10 charge from your Metaforce gauge in order to do so. No charge, no HP, simply put. In addition to the introduction of the new model of the 7 Lucky God series, we are also seeing a rerun of the previous 3, starting off the line with SFJ0 Ben 10 Sada, with the kit of Force Control, Static, Microwave, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Primacy. SFJ01 Juro Nanchi with the kit of Revive, Suction, Long Shot, Multi-Legs, and the Desert type leg ability. And then last but not least, the most recent excluding the new one introduced this week, which is SFJ02 Fukuro Koraufu with the kit of Rebirth, Slash, Blow Away, Flight Legs, and the Climber leg ability. Just between these 4 alone, there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of very, very good skills to be had. Juro Nanchi, for instance, is a model with Desert type, which is a very good terrain type leg ability. Ben 10 Sada for Microwave or Primacy leg, Biped Legs, or even the new one, Ibisu Shichifuku, with a kit of Fight, Full Charge, Beam Sword, Armor Drain, and a very solid Sea Leg. Honestly, I'd have to argue that Ibisu over here is probably going to be the most powerful and the best of the 4 we've seen up to date. But of course, that does not disqualify the other 3 from having viable skills as well if you are in need of parts. In addition to the highlighted here, we did also get a highlight leading into this week of a special daily gacha highlighting 2 particular bots that will be showcased for 1 day only on their respective day. Those particular bots include, on 12/29, which is the start of the new week, it will be Triple Gotsun and Stone Mirror. Folks who played the original games will know these 2 particularly well. On 12/30, we will be seeing Dash Button and Darkness Mage, 2 other very well-known bots from the GBA era that a lot of folks will come to know and recognize very well. On 12/31, yet 2 more iconic monsters of Beastmaster and God Emperor, all of which thus far are still very solid bots and very much so worth going after if you have the rubies to spend. Spearheading us off with the new year on 1/1 will be Beast Chimera and Dead Quasar, highlighting the new models and boss types that were introduced with Medarot S. On 1/2, we will be seeing Mad Natchery and Marie Crown, 2 other, I'd say, pseudo-boss types, you could call them in some cases, that were introduced in S as well. On 1/3, there'll be a highlight for Scorpio and Leo, which were general types, or sub-bosses, essentially, for Medarot Navi. And then last but not least, on 1/4, standing off essentially by himself is Death Providence, the tanky and walking fortress of the weapon series. So again, these will be showcasing once daily on their respective days, so once the day closes, their banners will shut down and the new ones will take their place. So if there is a model that you want to go for of these, it's best encouraged you pick them up sooner than later if you have the rubies to spend. If not, I'd say this would be a good week that you could use to kind of sit back and collect some resources and recoup, as it was a relatively busy month with a lot of nice models that we got through December. With the Fierce Battles we have this week, it is going to be relatively low-key as well, but still a lot of very nice budget parts, especially for folks that are new to the game or still very early on. Highlighting the Fierce Battles this week is SPR0 Blue Corundum, the Sapphire type, with the kit of Optic Guard, Press, Beam, Sea Legs, and the leg ability of Brilliance. Behind her, we see CLB02 Side Move, the rather unique take on the crab motif, with a kit of Hammer, Guard, Conceal, Sea Legs, and the Explorer leg ability. And then last but not least, we also have OWL03 Minerova, the very popular owl type from her release in this game, with a kit of Laser, Free Shot, Press, Float Legs, and the Torturer leg ability. Now, as I said, all three models here are relatively good in one manner or another, and a lot of them are going to be very good parts for budget fighters. This includes, like I mentioned, new folks that are just starting to play, or relatively newer rookies that have been playing for a while but still need to collect some solid parts. That being said, I would recommend collecting all of them just for the sake of having them, standard protocol if you will, but I would have to give the MVP of the week to Minerova, primarily for the fact that Free Shot is a very nasty skill that you can get relatively early on, for free no less, which makes it a very handy skill for new players and rookies, and of course it's a very widely loved skill for even veterans as well, for a lot of EX trials or Fierce Battles, or even PvP, where say melee freeze or something of the like can't be used as conventionally. Now, just to kind of highlight a recap from last week, we were already teased the introduction of the New Year's Salt and Anise, which were both pro tags from Medarot 8, but this week the banner for them for the super rare Medarot gacha will be going live this week. Just to recap on their skills, SR rank Salt has a skill that lets you bypass a trap on the field once and buff your movement speed by 15%. Which essentially is the same as the collaboration Icky skin from the most recent rerun of the Rockman Battle Network collaboration back a few months ago. Then Anise, which is the other SR meta rotter we're getting this week, has a skill that will allow meta change bots to have a CG cost of 0 on all skills while it transformed for 3 turns. This is also the same skill as the Halloween Retort that we had a couple months ago. So if you did miss out on him, this is your chance to collect it again, as that is a very, very handy skill you can make use of, especially if, say, your tank or your nuker has a charge requirement in order to use their stronger skills while transformed. Now, with the introduction of another model of the 7 Lucky Gods series, we are also getting a rerun of limited time daily missions. These naturally aren't very hard. Complete an EX trial, do a daily mission, perform in PvP. Very easy stuff, honestly, you do with your daily stuff. But with further rewards, you can get extra ruby shards or even gacha tickets that you can use in the permanent banner. This is basically just a free shot to get some extra Cyplasium or even some extra parts that you might be missing. Or for new players, these are basically free pulls for you without having to waste any precious resources. So, while you don't have to do these, it is encouraged that you do at least consider looking into them while you do your dailies every day. Now, with the events ongoing, we do know of one, but there were a couple others incoming that were highlighted. The first of which is the return of the Marathon Survival event. Now, the rules for this one are very simple. Upon going into a round, you can choose a set of parts. Upon victory, the parts that you used between all 3 of your bots are added to a banned list, and they are unchoosable again until you can reach a checkpoint, or of course you reset if you use all your good parts too early. As you complete rounds, more parts are added to the banned list until you reach a checkpoint. So this essentially is a test of flexibility and endurance to see how well you can use parts you perhaps don't use super often, if at all, but also a test to make sure you've been paying attention and raising parts that you perhaps don't use conventionally. So, while you don't want to have to waste all your resources and raise everything to 100%, or as high as you can go anyway, it is honestly encouraged that you do take some time to level up some backup parts, even just a 3-star for the sake of having them raised, because more often than not, even some of the early Marathon Survival challenges are very good for resources for rookies and new players. In addition to that, we also see the return of the 100 Robo Endurance Challenge. Now, folks that have played for a little over a year, at least at this point, will know this challenge particularly well. It's simply put a 100-round endurance survival with checkpoints every 10 rounds or so. Basically, this is like any other marathon survival, so same song, same dance, basically. But essentially, this one is going to be a major slog. So this is one that you're going to want to sit down and just let kind of run around on the side while you're doing other things. But there are a lot of resources and rewards to be had by finishing this and collecting them all. So do you think you're up to the challenge? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. And best of luck to you when this event does go live. Now, the main event that was highlighted last week as a teaser and will be going live this week is a New Year's event. Now, normally events are always great because that means extra resources and rubies, but this event will be geared primarily toward rookies and new players more than veterans in some cases. As in this event in particular, it gives you the opportunity to collect all, and I mean all, of the previous medal rewards from 2021. This includes medals such as the Navigator medal, the Phoenix medal, or even the Ranger medal, which were previously things you could only get through, say, collaborations or limited events. Medals, naturally, are something you definitely do not ever want to miss out on, as that's something that gives you more flexibility when building teams. So it will be very important across the board that you complete this, not just for the sake of collecting the rewards, but make sure you get those medals as well, because that'll make your life so much easier in the long run by having those extra medals and that extra flexibility. Now, the major thing that they announced this week was an incoming update with version 3.2, which will be going live on 1/26 at the end of January of 2023. The major update to this in particular was some overhauls to Meta League and PvP. As such, it will relatively stay somewhat the same, with some new modifiers and limits on how often you can use it, which for casual players may not be so bad, but for folks that really like to grind for PvP, this might be a little bit of a pain point for you. Just some of the highlights of those updates include that the new classes, which are six classes: silver to gold, gold to platinum, platinum to diamond, diamond to legend, and legend to champion. So relatively the same song and dance as before thus far. Now, the new rules that are being applied with this new update. You are only allowed to advance one class, i.e. silver to gold, once daily, which means in order to advance to the highest class, it is going to be encouraging you to challenge PvP daily so that you can earn those rewards. And this is kind of a way to keep a lot of people from cheesing it in, say, 2 or 3 hours on the last day and collecting the rewards. League dates will also be starting on Mondays now and no longer on Thursdays. This will again be going live on 1/26 with the new update. And the other big change with this new overhaul, everyone with the reset of PvP League every week will be starting at the bottom on silver rank. So now you don't essentially drop down 2 or 3 classes per rank when the week resets. You will be starting back at ground zero. So if you do want those rewards, you do have to work just a little bit harder and stay on it each week if you want to maintain those. That's not to say the rewards will change or that you lose any rewards. It just means you have to work just a little harder to maintain those and just add daily PvP grind to your daily farming and tasks whenever you log in. The other major change with the 3.2 update is that we are now able to batch level up. Now this means instead of leveling up something to its cap, limit breaking it, and then leveling up again to its new cap, you are now able to push a part all the way up to level 90, granted you have the resources for it. So this will save you just a little bit of time if you are able to push something all the way up, instead of having to go through 3 different menus just to push a part from 60 to 90. So this one is more of a quality of life update, I guess you can call it, more than anything else, but certainly going to be very openly welcomed all the same. Now, of course, with live PvP, they have been very gracious in giving us a lot of event skins and event rewards to go forward with the new thing to make it much more lucrative and worth pushing for every week. Or if you decide that you're not into it, you can always buy it with rubies if you have the resources on hand. But this week, for the new league, the new skins that they're showcasing to also tie into the festive new year are for 3 rather iconic models. As you see, we'll be seeing Furisode Peppercat, Tishimai Blues Dog, which essentially Dragon Dance Blues Dog, and Kagami Mochi Keith Turtle, which essentially is a kind of delicacy, I believe, that's usually eaten around the New Year and the festivities. So again, these will be available in the live PvP tourneys, so anyone has access to these, and I really, really like that they're highlighting bots this week that are iconic to everybody, which means everybody will have at least 1 or 2 parts of each, if not the whole sets. And this is something that's going to be very openly encouraged as a way to include the newcomers and rookies and give them something special to shoot for. Even if they aren't super strong, they can still collect the rewards. Now, with the community front, we are still always looking for translators for the Medarot Reloaded and the Medarot 3 translation projects. There has been some more progress and headway made on Medarot 3 and the Reloaded manga. The manga especially has started to generate more interest, but we are still in need of assistance with that. So if you do know of anyone that knows Japanese, coding, or cleaning, we would love to have the assistance with that so we can start seeing more progress on those endeavors, as well as working on other projects such as Medarot 4 and 5 and Navi, which are very widely requested projects that we'd like to see made into English so that we as a Western community can enjoy them with our JP friends. So again, if you do know anyone with some time on their hands that would love to help, pass them our way, pass them to me, and I'm more than happy to pass them along to whoever's necessary so they can fill them in on everything that needs done and everything that has been done up to this point. Now, with the weekly art highlight here on the MNN, this piece in particular was the first piece here was actually done on Christmas Day by my friend, Twitter user MoenCHSci. This was actually drawn out of chocolate, which makes it a very, very impressive piece of work here, highlighting a rather interesting comic strip from the manga where Beastmaster actually was cannibalizing one of his fellow allies in a fight just because of its feral nature. The wonderful work, my friend, amazing design, and especially since it was made out of chocolate. Very well done, very impressive. And this Twitter user here, I found Twitter user Moru Greed, highlighting the iconic and titular Bone Dragon type with his new upgrade and tune-up skin, with the red and black color scheme with gold accents. I have to admit, Greed's tune-up skin actually looks pretty nice compared to most of the tune-up skins we've got in recent. So it is nice to see yet more fan art in particular, highlighting the tune-up designs and the tune-up color schemes of particular bots instead of their iconic ones. So wonderful work to the both of you if you are watching this, and I am looking forward to seeing more work, not just this in particular, but also just in general in the future. But I believe that covers just about everything here with this week in particular, highlighting the end and the final week of 2022 and going into 23. So as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping by just as you always have. And I do also want to take a moment and say thank you for, as of today, 425 subscribers here on YouTube. It has honestly been a wonderful journey over the last year or so, year and a half, that I've been recording and doing these weekly video segments, but I honestly could not have done it without you. So, from the bottom of my heart, genuinely thank you very, very much. From one Medarotter or VTuber or whatever you are to another. That being said, if you would like to follow us and keep close on the action, you are welcome to join us on our Facebook communities at the Medarot News Network page or the Metabots Forever community on there. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below to keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action. This includes any new merchandise, new games, translation updates, manga, art, my weekly segments. That's the first place you will hear it before it goes anywhere else. You can also reach out to me personally on Twitter at IsagamIKura, so if you have any questions, feedback, comment, or suggestions, that is the easiest place you can reach out to me because I keep my DMs open like that for a reason. So if you would like to stop to say hello, don't be a stranger, drop on in and say hi, and I'll be sure to get back to you when I can. I do also give these lovely Twitter users as well a follow. at Twitter user HiraroKana who not a lot of people may know initially, but to us Medarotters is a very, very big name in the community, as Miss HiraroKana here was actually the one that was responsible for a lot of the early stories in the early Medarot games, which I believe was 2 to 4, and then also came back to assist with the Medarot 2 retelling for Medarot S, and has stuck around with for story assistance since. Do also give Twitter user here and I do apologize if I botched this if you are watching, Gushuye2400, who does a lot of really nice marker and paper media fan arts for Medarots in different kinds of situations, or even like comic strips. I have been following you for a while with your art. It has been wonderful, and I love the caricature and the personality that you put in each of your arts. So if you would like to see more Medarot in your feed, definitely give both of these people a follow. You will for sure not be disappointed. That being said, I do believe once again that covers everything. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.